One fact for every episode of Doctor Who. Part 3, the Jon Pertwee era. Spearhead from space. Have you ever wondered why the second regeneration had no transformation and was spread across 2 serials? The explanation is simple. The War Games finished filming in April 1969, and Spearhead from Space didn't start filming until July 1969. However, when a colorized, re-edited version of the War Games was released on BBC iPlayer in 2024, a proper transitional scene was added. This scene was originally a YouTube video made by a fan known as The Confession Dial. This video is still on their channel and is simply called The Second Doctor Regenerates. Doctor Who and the Silurians, which was supposed to be called The Silurians but there was a communication error. The real Silurian era is dated between 435 to 410 million years ago. The first dinosaurs spawned in about 248 million years ago in the Triassic period. Dinos were the main species of Earth for 185 million years during the Jurassic era and the Cretaceous era, until they were all killed by an asteroid. The Ambassadors of Death. Apollo 13 was launched on the 11th of April 1970. The same day the Ambassadors of Death Episode 4 was first broadcast. Unfortunately, the ship was disabled when one of its oxygen tanks exploded. The crew couldn't complete their trip to the moon, but they returned safely to Earth on the 17th of April 1970. Inferno! Whoa! The Doctor has heard the screaming of the Primords before, during his trip to Krakatoa in 1883. In our reality, this noise was the eruption of Pulau Rakata, which lasted from May to August 1883. The sound of this eruption could be heard from 2,000 miles away. Okay. Terror of the Autons. Roger Cesar Marius Bernard de Delgado Torres Castillo Roberto, or Roger Delgado as is usually known, attended a costume fitting for the Master. He was given a high-necked collarless suit in the style of Pandit Nehru, who is the former Prime Minister of India and the father of Indira Gandhi. Roger also tried on a hairpiece and had grey streaks added to his beard. The Master's black gloves were Delgado's suggestion. The Mind of Evil. The name of the prison, Stangmore, is fictional and was created by author Don Houghton by combining the names of 2 real prisons, Strangeways and Dartmoor. The Claws of Axos. Clearly seen beyond the interior double doors of the Doctor's TARDIS is a wall with the same circular design as the interior of the ship. This suggests that the control room doors no longer lead directly outside. Colony in space! The original draft of this story was set in 3000 AD on an unnamed planet which had 3 types of life forms. The Primitives, savage descendants of a now vanished super race, the Alien Priests, a bestial non-human race, and the Guardian, a super being. The Guardian was originally referred to as the Head, a floating head in a furnace of flames. The Daemons. Professor Horner claims that he is about to unearth the greatest archaeological find this country has known since Sutton Hoo. Woo. Sutton Hoo is the Suffolk site where an Anglo-Saxon burial ship from around 600 AD was excavated in 1939, revealing a wealth of artefacts that significantly furthered the knowledge and understanding of the period. Day of the Daleks. Dalekanium is the metal that Dalek casings are made of. It is also the only weapon that works on them. Dalekanium was introduced to the show in the Dalek Invasion of Earth back in Season 2, but its first appearance was actually in the comic strip The Humanoids from 1964's The Dalek book. The Curse of Peladon. While Brian Hales was writing this serial, the news was discussing Britain's entry into the European Economic Community. During a summit held in Paris in May 1972, the French President Georges Pompidou said he wouldn't block a British bid for entry like the previous president did. Although the parallels with Peladon entering the Galactic Federation were not intended by script editor Terence Dix, he said it may have influenced Hale's narrative. The Sea Devils. In December 2025, a re-edit of The Sea Devils was released on BBC iPlayer to promote the new spin-off The War Between the Land and the Sea. This version has a small dialogue change. In the original version, a sea devil says,
"We shall be the victors in the war against mankind."
But there's no need for a war.
In the edit, they said,
"We shall be the victors in the war between the land and the sea."
There's no need for a war.
The mutants. Colin Baker was considered for the role of Cotton, the character played by Rick James in this story. Colin shared a flat with the younger brother of Christopher Barry, who was a director. Colin Baker would later appear as Commander Maxill in Arc of Infinity, and then as the Sixth Doctor in seasons 21 to 23. The Time Monster. Doctor Who magazine has done polls to determine which stories are the readers' favourites and least favourites. The Time Monster has been ranked as Doctor Who magazine readers' least favourite Pertwee story 4 times. It lost the polls in 1998, 2009, 2014 and 2023. The Three Doctors. This was William Hartnell's final appearance in Doctor Who, as well as his final appearance on TV. He passed away in 1975. His last line was,
"Though considering the way things have been going, well, I shudder to think what you'll do without me."
Carnival of Monsters. Delia Derbyshire composed a new theme tune for the show, which ended up not being used because the BBC didn't like it, but it was heard in an Australian broadcast of Carnival of Monsters. Frontier in Space. This is the final appearance of Roger Delgado as the Master. He died in a car accident in June 1973 while filming a TV miniseries called Bal of Tibet. This incarnation of the Master was originally going to have a final encounter with the Doctor in the cancelled serial The Final Game. This story would have revealed that the Master and the Doctor are long-lost brothers. This was referenced decades later in Series 3.
So, Doctor, who is he? How come the ancient society of Time Lords created a psychopath?
And what is he to you? Like a colleague or...
Friend at first.
Thought you were going to say he was your secret brother or something.
You've been watching too much TV.
Planet of the Daleks. The original plan was for Frontier in Space and Planet of the Daleks to be all one 12-episode serial. They were split into 2 6-episode serials because making a story that long would have been difficult, as they knew from the Daleks' master plan. The Green Death. The evil computer is known as Boss. At the end of the Star Beast, the Meep said, "Wait until I tell the boss." The Time Warrior. This story introduces Sarah Jane Smith, the most popular companion in Doctor Who's history. It also introduces the Sontarans, who the Doctor already knows about because the first Doctor met them in the Big Finish audio story, The Sontarans. Invasion of the Dinosaurs. We all recognise Bessie as the Doctor's car, but it's not the only one he had. The Whomobile was commissioned by John Pertwee because of his love of gadgets and spies. Death to the Daleks. The Exelon City's energy-draining properties derived from scheduled power cuts throughout the early 1970s. The Monster of Peladon. In Part 4 we get a clear look at Pertwee's stunt double, Terry Walsh, when he throws Etis during the fight at the end of the episode, and again when he's punched away from the sonic lance just before it explodes. Planet of the Spiders. Though not credited, Barry Letts wrote this story with Robert Sloman. Therefore, this is the only TV story to be written, produced and directed by the same person.